Welcome to a short installment of Aquarius Farms. Tonight we're looking at a beautiful sunset, as you can see, as well as a lot of beautiful squash. This is about what we harvest every night, give or take. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple things. One, how not to harvest zucchini. Like these giant, let me see, I'll give you my foot for perspective. So you can see these zucchini are absolutely humongous. And that's not a good thing. It can cut the productivity of your plant. And really what happened was we had a neighbor flood out our road because they left their canal gate on. And we really couldn't harvest for a couple of days. Okay, so here we've got several varieties of dark and light green, zucchinis, straight neck yellow squash, crook neck yellow squash, and then up here's really the more interesting stuff. And now as far as the squash goes, we have, I want to say maybe 24 varieties of summer squash, but most of them are different flavors of a green and yellow zucchini, and that really keeps with the polyculture theme of sort of reducing your exposure to pest risks and crop failures and the sort by growing a lot of varieties so that you get some genetic diversity, and if you get one kind of disease versus another, you're unlikely to lose your whole crop. So right here we have tatumi. I really don't know how to say it, but it's a Mexican summer/winter squash. It looks like a pumpkin now and actually turns orange when you let it ripen, but is eaten like a summer squash. You can cut it into nice thick half-inch slices, grill it, and it makes a really nice veggie burger. This one here, this is a trombetta squash, and it is actually an edible gourd. Now gourds are squashes, but if you let these go, they'll turn dark brown and get hard enough that you could probably do some serious damage to someone. But they taste like zucchini, only better, and they don't get mushy at all. They have no mushiness like a zucchini. Basically the whole thing's like the outer quarter-inch of a zucchini. And then right here, this is delicata. It is an Italian heirloom zucchini. I think it has a little crisper texture, a little better flavor than your average zucchini. So anyway, that is one night's harvest from our zucchini plants. It's in excess of 200 pounds. The plants are amazingly productive, and really we would have just as much weight even without the giant ones because we would have really had more zucchinis to pick. So I guess we can take a quick tour before it gets too dark. Here you can see a row of squashes that is a mixture of vining squash and bushing squash. Really because we got in a hurry and screwed up and planted viners where we needed bushers, but it's worked out okay. Just occasionally have to cut one of its little tendrils off a pepper plant, etc. Up here you can see we're starting to set some heirloom tomatoes. Got some peppers in here with flowers, and around here there's some Thai, you can see some little Thai chilies coming on back there. And then, as you can see, lots and lots and lots and lots of tomatoes. Now here's a trombetta. Again, it's a gourd, so it's eaten like a summer squash, but it's vining. It's not a bush type like most summer squashes. And some lettuce down there. Here's our tomatillo plants. Now you notice everything looks a little water stressed. Well, we haven't really had any rain whatsoever in pretty much a month. And irrigation only goes so far. It cannot get the ground as saturated as natural rain, so our plants are starting to get a little stressed for water. We staked a lot of them. We didn't get around to all of them. 4,000 plants, we ran out of time. But even the ones that are sprawling on the ground seem to be pretty productive. Here you can see some cayenne peppers setting. We have some, I believe this is cabbage. And we put the colder season crops on the side of the bed that's away from the afternoon sun. The ones that we did on the afternoon sun side have bolted, whereas the ones we put on the shade side have not. So it's a good example of figuring out our microclimates over time so we can grow things more effectively. Some more bush zucchinis here, or yellow summer. Yeah, yellow summer squash. Yeah, the squash are just amazingly productive plants. Sorry. As you can see, we're still cleaning up. First year, you're never done with anything, and we have things like this big, too big for one person to move boulder right in the middle of the path, which is obviously less than optimal. Down here we have some flat single leaf parsley, some more zucchini, More peppers, you know, and occasionally you'll see a bare spot like this, and that's really where we had a plant or two die, and we haven't gone back and plugged it with anything because, you know, we're just too busy. Here's an example of a aroma plant who's very, very nice and happy and setting tons and tons of fruit. Now that's, aromas are another good example of why you really want to spread your risk by taking the polyculture, many varieties even of the same thing, because, oops, where'd you go? Oh well. These aromas are nice, happy, green tomatoes. And then we've got another variety I'm not going to hunt down because it's getting late, that has had a lot of problems with blossom end rot, and it's just that one variety of aroma. Every other tomato in this garden has not a spot of blossom rot on it. So that's a good example of a aroma we're not going to grow next year, obviously. And had we invested all of our aroma plants, which is over 1/3 of our total, we would have lost that crop. But since we spread our risk across a lot of varieties, we don't. So let me give you a quick panoramic around the farm, and then we will sign off for the night. As you can see, it's starting to look a little bit like a jungle. So, little Mission Mountain sunset, and you have a great night.